plant enthusiasts, welcome to my channel. In today's video I want to talk about one of my favorite trees, which is the pine. I have a lovely tea here made from fresh pine shoots and I enjoy it so much. So let's share this. There are hundreds of pine species present in the northern hemisphere, from the wood borders in subpolar regions to Mediterranean environments. In Germany, Austria and Switzerland, we have mainly 4 pine species which are present here. One of them is Pinus sylvestris, which is the wood pine, Pinus nigra, which is the black pine, Pinus mugo, which is the mountain pine, and Pinus cembra, which is the Swiss pine. Please, Austrian viewers, I know that the Zirbelkiefer, Pinus cembra, is very famous and popular in your region as well. I looked up the translation, it's the Swiss pine. So then let's go and check out some pines outside. Here we have the pine in the garden of a friend of mine. You can see the pine shoots. These are these and this one. And this is a male flower. You can see all the pollen sacs here. And the pine is a monoecic plant. That means that you have male and female flowers on one plant. The male flower has this pollen sac which change the color in ripening from light green to yellowish, and now these are already empty and at the end they are brown. Here we have male pollen sacs that are still active, so I hope you can see this. Do you? Yeah. You can also collect those and eat them, preferably when the pollen sacs are yellow like this. Not with the brown ones. The brown ones are already empty, and you can also use the light green ones. You can easily spot the pine through the needles. Pines have really long needles. The pine needles are coming from a sheath. This pine has always 2 needles from one sheath. This can vary from pine to pine. They can have 2 or 5, but they always have this sheath where the needles come from. Here we have the female flower of the pine. This is here in red. This is when fertilized, the pine cone will form. The female flower is compared to the male flower much more subtle, and it's at the end of the shoots. Here are 3 shoots, and above those there is again a male flower with the tiny shoot. When the female flower gets fertilized, the pine cones will form, but they will not form in the same year. They will form in the year after. These, which is specific for the pine, can stand in any direction. They will not hang, they will not sit on top of the branch. They can stand in every direction. Here we have an older pine cone. This is younger than the one before, and I will show you young and fresh pine cones as well. Here we have 2 wonderful fresh pine cones. Here's this structure with some kind of eyes here. And during ripening, this will open up and the seeds will fall out. We will take one of these and open one, and I can show you the inner side of these cones. The bark of the pine is brownish greenish, and for the older branches the bark changes to a fish scale pattern. Here's something else I wanted to show you, the resin of the pine. Here a branch was cut away and you can see the huge amount of resin healing the wound of the pine. Here's more. Here it got hurt and there's also a lot of resin. This resin is called terpentine, and when subjected to water steam distillation you can create terpentine oil and rosin from this. Before the shoots come out, they are covered also with a sheath. This is what you can see here. One last thing I wanted to mention is how to harvest the shoots in order to not hurt the plant. Just take the shoot gently between your fingertips and then you just break it out just to prevent the plant from any hurts. This can be easily healed. Here we have an example what not to do with the pine. This one has been cut extensively and it was not able to heal the wounds properly. You can see it's very dry, and also it has been cut into a cubic shape. The plant doesn't like cubic shape. So, I mean, it's a tree. Trees like to spread their branches. There are a few trees that are really tolerant. I mean, the pine is quite tolerant to cutting as well, but no tree loves cubic shape. There are some, like this one, which you can cut and form, but in general, the natural form of the pine is with the branches spread. So if you want a nice healthy pine which is also having energetically power, you don't cut it into a square thing. So this is very sad, but I'm taking care about it. Give it some fertilizers and hug it. Tiny pine. Here we have some assorted pine pieces. Here you can see an old pine cone. The seeds have already fallen out. Then they open like this. Here you have this seed scale. This is the other side. This is actually why conifers are called Gymnosperms. In German it's Nacktsamer, it's naked cedars. This is because the seeds don't have any protection. When the pine cone open up, the seeds just fall out. We've also here a shoot. I will actually eat that one now. It's soft, it's tasty, it's just lovely and very, very healthy. I will tell you about the ingredients later. And here is what I just mentioned. 2 needles come out of this tiny sheath here. And we will open up this young pine cone to see the young seeds inside. See here, I have cut this into half, and then we have this seed scales here. Here you can see the seeds. 2 seeds under 1 sheet scale. You can take them out, they are not ripened yet. Here's 1 seed. It's not as huge as the pine seeds that you can buy. This is more from Mediterranean pines, but this one is tasty too. You can actually eat this whole pine cone. I will eat this whole thing. It's lovely, it tastes good. Pines are so rich in natural ingredients and compounds. Essential oils are present in the leaves and branches. They also have this resin, which is called terpentine, and if subjected to water steam distillation, you can make turpentine oil of it and rosin. The shoots of the pine contain essential oils, resin, flavonoids, bitter substances like pinecrin, vitamin C, and also tannins. The essential oil present in all parts of the pine tree is mainly comprised of monoterpenes. It's 80% of monoterpenes present. I will make a video on terpenes as well, because I think there is a lot of information that people would benefit if they understand it. But for this we also need to cover some chemical properties. I will link the video when I have produced it. So let's go back. The oil contains 80% of monoterpenes, which is mainly alpha and beta pinene, alpha and beta philandrene, delta 3 carene, limonene, and camphene for the monoterpenes. They also contain terpenoids like bornyl acetate. And last but not least, sesquiterpenes, which are caryophyllene, alpha-humulene, and germacrin D, for example. So what are the health benefits from essential pine oil? It has been demonstrated to stimulate the blood circulation, it promotes expectoration, it is anti-inflammatory, it has antimicrobial properties, and it's diuretic. You can make great use of it if you have a cold or if you want to treat influenza symptoms. It's also great for external application to release tension and pain from the muscles and joints. It has also great effects on rheumatism. As pines are present everywhere, it's easy to collect them, as I have shown you when we were outside. So what are the applications? So what can you prepare for yourself at home if you want to make use of the great benefits pine essential oil can offer? You can, for example, create your own pine syrup. Therefore, you would just put different layers. You start with sugar, add a layer of pine shoots, then add sugar and so on into a clean glass, and then you put that glass to a window where a lot of sunlight comes in, and then you let it stand for 3 or 4 weeks. Then the sun will melt the sugar and extraction of the compounds can occur. And then after 3 to 4 weeks, you can filter the solution, put it in a brown glass bottle, and then store it and use it in winter times when you're cold and not feeling so well. Another application would be a tincture. You can make your own tincture of the pine. Just fill a bottle or a clear glass with a pine material as the needles or the shoots or the cones or everything. You can also just put everything inside and fill it up with alcohol. Vodka is a good alcohol to use for that, since it's quite neutral. Invert it several times and then you put it in the cupboard again. Let it stand for 3 to 4 weeks. I would actually recommend to let it stand for a month. And then you filter out the plant material, and then you can fill your tincture into brown bottles and store it. This should also be quite durable if you have worked clean, because it's alcohol, nothing should really degrade there, and you can basically use it for years. But you can also prepare your own tincture every year, do as you prefer. Another application would be to infuse honey with pine material. A nice thing to do is to use the shoots as well for that, or the needles. Use really liquid honey and leave this honey also for a month in a dark cupboard, and then you can filter out the plant material. Or actually you will lose some honey if you filter that out, and I would recommend, depending where you want to use it for, I would use it for my tea and then just put the honey into my tea, and then I have some plant material, but I don't bother about that. You can produce your own Oxymel. As soon as I have finished the Oxymel video, I will link it here that you know how to prepare this. Another application would be to aromatize or infuse nice liquor with the pine cones. I know friends of mine do it every year with Pinus Sembra, Swiss pine. It tastes quite nice. They prepare it in autumn and they let it stand for the whole year, and then drink it next year on Christmas. If you like that, that could be an option for you then. For me personally, I prefer the tea and the syrup and the tincture. If you feel like, I need the pine, you can easily have your tea. I usually dry needles and shoots of the pine, and then I store them in a glass in a dark cupboard. Then I have pine whenever I need it. You can also prepare a salve of the pine resin or any gymnosperm resin. I want to create a video for you on that, but currently I'm suffering on finding enough resin outside from fresh cut trees to do that, and I don't want to hurt the trees to collect the resin. Give me time, I will do that and prepare a video on that as well. Another great use of the essential pine oil is for aromatherapy. I'm using these room sprays for aromatherapy. These contain pine and also the Swiss pine. It's so lovely, and especially when I have a hard day at work, I spray that around me, and then you feel like in the forest and everything is getting better. In aromatherapy, the pine and the scent of the pine helps you to center yourself again, to become free from clouded surroundings and heavy thought and all that, creating a feeling of suppression. Pine blows that away. It makes you feel fresh. It enables you to get new energy and feel connected with the earth and with your strengths. Pine is also one of the 38 Bach flowers after Dr. Edward Bach. It's number 24. According to Bach, pine helps you to release feelings of guilt and to let go of them. In his book, Edward Bach says that pine is advised when feeling guilty, you have a guilty conscience with no reason. If you take responsibility for everything and everyone and are not able to receive, if you apologize for everything, like apologizing in a way, sorry that I was born. So pine gives you strength again and is very nurturing for people that have an issue with feeling guilty all the time. And it helps you to accept yourself with your flaws and all the things that are not perfect about you. It helps also to align yourself in a positive way, to get again a positive view on the future instead of hardcore perfectionism, which is impossible anyway. According to Edward Bach, large can also be helpful in combination with the pine for a self-esteem boost. Mimulus against the fear to make mistakes, and rock water to cure this hardcore perfectionism. If you liked this video, please give me your thumbs up and consider subscribing and hitting the bell to not miss out any new content coming up. And if you want to support me even further, the possibilities are linked below. Thank you for your time. I wish you a very nice rest of the day, and I'm happy to see you in another video. Bye.